What's going on, guys? Ah, what's going on, guys? Today's video, I'm gonna be talking about an eggplant for 1 hour. Here's the eggplant. I'm gonna get the timer going, and then we'll just start. Resetting now. So, I bet you're all probably wondering, well, why am I doing this? And I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm doing this because I can do this. And I also think this is a great idea to creatively brainstorm jelly beans. So we're gonna be doing that. And also, so here without further ado, let's get into it. So today, this is what we have in the thing. We have a plant, an eggplant, and hold on a second. Why is this doing this? Okay. So, what do we have here? This is an eggplant. What type of eggplant is it? Look, I'm gonna be honest. I can't say I know the answer to that question. But I don't know the answer to a lot of questions, so I don't feel bad about not knowing what type of eggplant this is. But we could at least try and observe what type of eggplant this is in our own way, because just because someone else has put a name on it doesn't mean I can't put a name on it. So that's what we're gonna work on. We're gonna work on naming this eggplant for starters. So let's just observe it. What do we see here immediately off the rip? It's egg shaped. Well, no, it's not. It's eggplant shaped. It's shaped. What's it shaped like? Well, it's shaped like a very chody. It's shaped like if somebody grabbed the end of a circle and stretched it. It's almost circle, but they've just grabbed one end and they've dragged it out. Now, this eggplant doesn't even look purple. This eggplant looks. What does it look? It looks very darkish, bro. It looks almost licorice. So what do we have? We have elongated circle, we have darkish color, and most noticeably, we have this thing on the top. What is this thing on the top? Well, this would be the stem that it grows from, which I assume all eggplants would have. So I'm not sure if that's a very unique characteristic. But to name the eggplant, we're gonna name it. I'm gonna name the eggplant. Now this is really important because I'm gonna be referring to this for the rest of the video. What to name the eggplant? What to name the eggplant? What to name the eggplant? I'm gonna name the eggplant Pringle. Yeah, Pringle. Yeah, I like that. It just rolls off the tongue, Pringle. Pringle. Pringle, come here, Pringle. Yep. Yeah, we're doing that. Okay, so we have Pringle the eggplant here. And yeah, I mean, low key, bro. I've observed everything there is. There's a little thing on the bottom here. Um, I guess I can make some other like estimations if I just. Okay, so I mean, rookie numbers, rookie numbers. But yeah. Okay. So the eggplant's probably about um hmm hmm. I'd say maybe around 6.5, 7 inches, which is it's pretty good for an eggplant. Actually, I don't think it is. I think there's much bigger eggplants out here than 6 to 7 inches. um, but yeah, so about 6 to 7 inches. And how did it grow like this? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure where this came from. Did it come from a store? Did it come from a farm? Did it come from a backyard? Because I know my mom grows eggplants. Um, I don't know. These are all very valid questions, by the way. It's not like you can just attack me for asking this. But I noticed when I look around on it, it has some scars on it. I'm not sure what it's been through. Yeah, like we can see scratching here. There's a little cut, so maybe this eggplant has had a rough life, bro. Maybe it grew up in the trenches. Maybe it was abused. I'm not sure, but it seems like it's been through quite a bit, but I can imagine that those those what's the word? Those I don't even know the fucking word. Those challenges would have shaped him into being a better person. Because look, it's here with us today. This eggplant, despite all that it's been through, is here with us today. And it's allowing me to interpret it for the sake of the video. And I have to give him respect for that because some people they go through things and they just can't handle it. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. But we have to try as best as we can to do things, to be there for the people that love us. And I love this eggplant. And he knows that I love it because I've just told him that I love it. In fact, I don't even know if it's a bloke. This eggplant could be a girl. And then where would we be? So, in fact, I'm not really sure how to tell the gender of an eggplant, if I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not sure if there's any characteristics that separate the two, any symmetry breakers that separate a female eggplant from male eggplant, but I would like to say that this is a male. No. Hmm. Hmm. To me, this looks like this looks like an old, middle-aged eggplant. You know what I mean? Maybe like a 50-year-old white guy from Britain is what this eggplant would be. I don't know, it's just giving that vibe, you know what I mean? Something about that is just saying like I'm from Bristles. I'm from Cheshire and this is my eggplant, our eggplant, you know what I mean? But there's nothing inherently wrong with that. I mean, I'm saying it like I'm just describing the characteristics. It would also match with the previous story I was saying about how he's gone through some things, that could explain the age. The age could explain why there's so many scars because he's been through a lot. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think a young eggplant would have many scars unless it had a really, really rough life. But these aren't very crazy scars. We see one and we see two, but you know, it's not a lot. So it's more indicative of like, wait, I just completely contradicted myself. No, maybe this is a young eggplant because there's only a few little scars on here, bro. Maybe this is a 20-year-old eggplant. Pringle, the 20-year-old eggplant. And he is from Brazil. So we have Pringle, the 20-year-old eggplant from Brazil, who's been through a bit of life challenges so far. That's very interesting. Okay. Well, let's move on from him and let's focus a little bit more about me. How does this make me feel? Well, when I look at it, I go, okay, it's an eggplant, and I'm holding it in my hand and I'm making a video. It feels quite nice. The temperature, the temperature is quite nice because it just came out of the fridge, so it's still a little bit cold. Um, what else? What else? What else? It's not very heavy, actually. You'd think, and from my experience, objects that look like this are much heavier, if you know what I mean. But anyway, um, this eggplant is, to be honest, when you think of eggplant, you think of like a real, like strong purple. You know what I mean? You think of a purple. But this is very dark. It's very dark. It's almost not even an eggplant. It's almost just a plant. You know what I mean? Instead of eggplant, it's just G-plant. Like G plant. Or instead of eggplant, it's just egg. Like it's missing the signature characteristic that makes it purple. And to be honest, I actually kind of respect it for doing that. Because no, you don't have to be defined by social norms, you know what I mean? Okay, so every eggplant's purple. That is the exact reason why you shouldn't be purple. If you're not harming anybody by doing something different, be different, bro. The world is full of too many clones and too many people that are just in their own world and they don't care. They see someone doing something and they laugh. They point. They see somebody that looks different and they laugh and they point and they call them names and they ridicule them. But I would rather be the most unique individual in my life than be the most boring cookie cutter Buzz Lightyear clone on the shelf looking individual, bro. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but if you're paying other people out while you yourself are as interesting as the wall behind me, then you need to get your priorities straight. And so I really commend this eggplant for trying something different and really, you know, the fact that he's gone with a darker color too. It's almost like I don't want to be seen. Or it's the opposite. He's gone, my color does not define me. Imagine we had yellow eggplants. I'm pretty sure they do exist. Imagine how crazy they would look because they'd stand out. And maybe that's just like the real world, Maybe we see somebody who's very attractive and they stand out, but you get to know them and they're literally just the most boring person ever. I'd hate that. I'd hate that. That would just suck. So what does this eggplant tell us about society and the way that we perceive ourselves and individuals? Well, it tells us to not be afraid of taking a risk. It tells us to always do your own thing and go your own way. And it says, even despite everything which has been established in the current societal system, it is not wrong to go a different direction. And I really, really like that. I really, really like that because this is a fruit or a vegetable. I don't even know what this is. It could be a dairy product for all I know. Okay, maybe not. But it's a fruit, right? Or a vegetable. And if a vegetable can be different, if a vegetable can do something else, if a vegetable can be a metaphor for change in the real world, then so can you, bro, because this thing doesn't have a brain. This, or maybe it does, I don't know. I don't know if it has consciousness. I'm not sure we could ever prove that, but this is a vegetable which has grown off a plant, and it is a metaphor for being different. And I think that's beautiful. I really, really, really do think that is just commendable to the highest level, man. I mean, we have people walking around that are less interesting than this. We have people walking around that are less interesting than this. I'm going to say it one more time for the people in the back. We have people walking around that are less interesting than an eggplant which has grown off a plant in a garden. Let that sink in, bro. Let that sink in. Let it sink in. Just let it sink in for like 2 or 3 seconds. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Let's get back to the topic at hand. What is the topic at hand? Well, I forgot the topic at hand because I've been going on a tangent. But, yeah, as I've been saying, the fact that this can just be such a unique thing is just amazing to me. And I try to be like this eggplant every day. Making this video right now. 9 out of 10 people, in fact 10 out of 10 people, including myself, would look at it and go, what on earth is this guy doing? And I don't want to get all serious in here because obviously like this is a bit of a joke, but if we're being serious, I'm probably the first person in the world to ever do this. The first person out of 8 billion people to film a video for 1 hour about an eggplant. I know people have done other fruit before, but or vegetables or whatever, but I'm the first to do this particular eggplant which has grown in whatever particular garden. Isn't that just crazy to think about? There's 8 billion, probably more people on the planet, and only one person has ever done that. What can you say that you've done like that? What can you say? Without getting into the technical, oh, I've walked on this footpath in this particular angle at this. That doesn't count, bro. Because I could say that the dust particle that I just breathed in here, I'm the first to ever do that. Which I'd probably be wrong, because I could imagine that dust comes back out of you somehow. Hopefully dust doesn't just stay in you. And if it does, well then I'm a bit concerned. What can you say that you have done that nobody else has done? Or let's go a step back that most people haven't done. What's something you have done that most people haven't done? Made a short movie, made a feature film, won an award for this. We need to have accomplishments that we are proud of in life. We need to. It gives you purpose. Actually, I'm going to take that back. Not everybody's purpose comes from their achievements. But in order to make life more interesting, we need to do things that are interesting. Is this interesting? Well, it's different, it's unique, and it's probably funny for some people. So yeah, I'd say it is kind of interesting. But life these days has become so boring. No, in fact, it's the opposite. Life these days has become so dopamine octane driven that you have people saying, I can't believe it was only 2025 a year ago, or I can't believe 2022 was 4 years ago. You know why you can't believe that, bro? Is because you spend every single day on reels, scrolling reels, watching pornography on the internet, frying your dopamine receptors, bro. Frying them. And this eggplant is the only this is the living embodiment of resilience. In my hand is this eggplant with this bowl cut trim. This is the living embodiment of going against the system, of going against the daily rat race, of going against the dopamine overload that we're exposed to every day. This eggplant. Dudes will come up to me, bro, I can't believe March was 4 months ago. Yes, you can. You know why March felt like 4 months ago? Is because you haven't put your phone down in 4 months. You don't know what it's like to turn your brain off. You don't know what it's like to adopt the eggplant mentality of sitting here and going against everything that we stand for, that you stand for, because I don't stand for this system. So it's incredible. It really is incredible. I mean, what do we have so far? It's a metaphor for being different. It's a metaphor for leaving the rat race. By the end of this video, this is gonna be the craziest eggplant you guys will have ever met. Pringle, 20 years old from Brazil, is gonna be the craziest eggplant that you've ever met. I'm 100% confident saying that. I can't even remember what I was just talking about. Dudes will say, yeah, oh, that's right. Yeah, so I'm probably the first person to ever do this. Now, is that a flex? Well, I mean, it's not necessarily a hard thing to do, but it's something. And in a year's time, I'm going to remember it. I guarantee I'll remember this. Every time I do some bullshit like this, I remember it. Every single time I've stared at a wall, I remembered it. I remembered the first time I stared at a wall because it was agonizing. I remember the second time I stared at a wall because it was also agonizing. I remember the third time I stared at a wall because it was also agonizing. I remember the fourth time I stared at a wall and it was agonizing. But I also remember the fifth time I stared at a wall for 2 hours and it was the best thing I've ever done. So maybe this eggplant is the best thing that I'll ever do. In fact, I don't even want to eat it because by the end of this video, I'm gonna have feelings about this eggplant. I have genuinely manifested feelings for an inanimate object in my hand that I've grabbed from the fridge. Simply by just talking about it and giving it good praise. Now imagine if we could do that about things in the real world. Imagine you talked so highly about people you knew. You'd want to be around them more. Imagine you had a best friend. Oh, he's the nicest guy ever. He's so chill. And you filled in all this information that you didn't know about them. You'd love him. You'd want to be around him more. I want to be around this fucking eggplant. And it's an eggplant. In fact, let's just analyze what I just said. And it's an eggplant. I added that at the end of the... Excuse me. I added that at the end of the sentence as if it was supposed to have some sort of negative connotation. I want to be around this eggplant and it's an eggplant? What does that mean? Tell me why being an eggplant is bad. Does this eggplant know it's an eggplant? No! Or maybe it does, I don't know. And if it does, then I can say hello to it. Hello, eggplant. Why is it bad to be something different? It's not. And we already had this conversation. In fact, I should retract that statement completely and say, I'm so grateful to be around this eggplant because it reminds me of how life is supposed to be lived. Of the things that we're supposed to go out and achieve. And not the barriers that are supposed to hold us back. Not the limitations of the self-mind that is supposed to keep us within our cage. This, despite everything that society thinks is the most powerful thing that I'm going to do today and talk to. And I'm not going to do the eggplant as in fucking... But when I say do, I mean record the video. This eggplant is the best eggplant of all time. Actually, no. I don't believe in anyone being the best. Because for all I know, there could be another eggplant like this on the other side of the world that's doing the same thing. Trying to be different. And I will never pay anybody out for being different. No matter what. Because imagine if we were all the same. Imagine if there was 1 billion of me on the street. How would you know which one to go up to? You'd have to get to know them. Which is proof that personality matters. Because beyond the facade that I was born with, I have a mind that speaks for itself and says words that are interesting or not interesting depending on the person. And the only way you can find that out is by getting to know me. I could look like Sabrina Carpenter, or who's a very attractive woman or male. I could look like George Clooney, bro. But I could have the personality of a doorknob. I could have the personality of a backyard stone. You know? And you'd go, okay, well, maybe he's fun to be around for a little bit because he's good looking and I'm attracted to low vibrational frequencies such as lust and primal urges, and yeah, I can have a good time with him for a little bit. But it's not gonna fulfill your soul if you're surrounded by a stone, surrounded by a doorknob. Especially if you're not a doorknob yourself. I don't expect this eggplant to ever get with another eggplant that's not like it. It needs to be with like-minded individuals. Actually, I'm disagreeing. It needs to be with different-minded individuals that are open-minded. I would never give this eggplant, if I was setting this eggplant up to date, I would never try and set it up with another eggplant that's not open-minded. that's not willing to go, that's not willing to be creative, that's not willing to have an imagination, that's not willing to push past societal norms. I'd never do it because its partner would hold it back. You need somebody in your life who's going to enhance the good qualities about you, enhance the good and decrease the bad. If I was to give this eggplant to your regular, degular, purple, long eggplant from the store, it would feel like giving a bird, putting a bird in a cage. Because that other person would cage the creativity of this eggplant and it would be gone. And then what would we have? We'd have a beautiful soul here that ceases to exist, suppressed by one other's negativity, suppressed by somebody else's lack of desire to see the beauty in the world. And that breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. And it breaks my heart because I see a little bit of myself in this eggplant, not just in the physical characteristics, but also in the metaphysical. I see myself in this eggplant because I myself am a unique individual. I am. I'd say that most people that know me would vouch for me on that. And if you don't, that's fine. You don't have to. But I see myself in this eggplant because I am one who doesn't go with the flow of everyday life. I used to hold myself back in the view of other people's eyes. I used to hold myself back. I used to suppress everything that I enjoyed. I used to suppress my creativity. I used to suppress the uniqueness about me. And ever since high school, when I didn't have to worry about that, I've been able to go out, I've been able to do more, I've been able to be myself. And it's incredible. It really is incredible. I mean, it just feels amazing. And so I can put myself in this eggplant's shoes and go, that's how he would feel. Because I feel great. I try to be an interesting person to be around. I don't care. People will call me cringe. People will call me unfunny. People will call me ugly, which doesn't really retain to the argument because that's kind of just subjective. I mean, everything is subjective. Being cringe is subjective. Being weird is subjective. But they also have these sort of undertones where it's like, is he weird or is he just free-spirited? Ugly, I feel like it's less complicated. It's very just observable, you know what I mean? Bang, you look at someone, they're chopped. You look at someone, they're fit. But people will look at me and they'll go, this guy's... They'd call me an eggplant, which I don't even consider an insult anymore because I think this is amazing. I think this is an incredible object. But they look at me and they go, this dude's a cherry. This dude is a sock. Like they'll call me names. They'll say I'm weird. They'll call me... Another one for some reason is they'll just call you gay. Alright, bro. I guess I'm gay. Like, why are we still using gay as an insult in 2026 is just beyond me, bro. That's like the epitome of backwards thinking. You call someone gay. Alright, bro. I know a billion gay people. I know like 5 gay people that are incredible. Amazing people. Have done more for society than a lot of straight people. So why is being gay bad? Oh, bro, you're gay because you're gay. And especially in this context, bro. I'm talking about an eggplant for 1 hour. You're gonna call me gay? What other gay people do you know do that? Well, okay. I don't think gay people shy away from talking about eggplants, if you know what I mean. But this eggplant in particular. What other gay people do you know do that? You know what I mean? It's like, I've already sat here and said that I'm probably the only person in the world to do this shit. So how is this an observable behavior of somebody who's gay? It doesn't make any sense. Maybe if I was like putting it up my ass, which we're just not gonna do. And even then, I'm sure a straight dude could do that. but I feel like I'd be more likely to see a gay. But anyway, we're not gonna go down that road. So calling people gay is just not an insult. If anything, the original definition means happy. But even if we go off today's definition, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being gay. So what? You just like dudes or you like women. Most of the guys that use gay as an insult don't think of lesbian when it comes to mind. So it really isn't about liking the same gender. It's just about liking dudes. Women like dudes. Are you going to call women gay? But this eggplant, I see myself in this eggplant. I do. I do see myself in this eggplant. I do. And I see a bit of this eggplant in me. Because we're trying to, if I could date this eggplant, I'd bring it up. I would. For my whole life, I felt like I've never truly fit in. If that makes sense. I've always felt like I don't belong. I felt like I'm not willing to just accept the way things are. Some people are just able to do that. I commend you for doing that because it's quite impressive, just accept the bullshittery. I can't accept that. And even in friend groups, I've always, I'm able to get along with people and I'm able to talk to people, but I've always felt like there's a metaphysical element that's present in every conversation which just can't be addressed. There's a word for that, it's called awkwardness. A slight level of awkwardness is just present. And if you don't acknowledge it, sometimes it goes away. I notice that with women in particular, I don't have an issue talking to a woman if I'm genuinely interested in just getting to know them. But if I find one attractive, it's the same feeling, bro. But we're not here to talk about attractiveness. We're talking about what I don't fit in. I've always felt like this eggplant. I've always felt like there's just something that I'm missing. And 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 man, I'm out of words. It's been half an hour and I'm out of words. Um, yeah, I don't know. But I don't think that that's something you have to accept. I don't think not fitting in is something you have to accept, and I refuse to believe that I don't fit into any group. There's already people I hang out with that I'm very comfortable being around and I enjoy being around. Most people that I hang around, I enjoy being around. Sometimes people can annoy me, but you're also able to recognize that they won't bring you up. They're there and you like being around them, but on a personal level, they're not going to enhance you, bro. They're just going to be there. Some people do the opposite. You meet people that bring you down. They suppress what's good about you. And you just wanna cut those people out of your life, bro. I'm so sick of it. I know the most lovely dudes that hang around the most negative motherfuckers, bro. Every day. I fucking hate this. I hate this. Oh, I hate this. Oh, this sucks. Oh, this sucks. Oh, I hate this. Oh, I don't know how you can live like that, bro. How? How is it fun to live like this? Oh, I hate this. Oh, I hate this. Oh, this sucks. It just boggles me, bro. I just don't get it. How can you be so negative? How can you harbor so much hate in your heart? Just be like the eggplant. Just be like the eggplant, bro. Just be like the eggplant, man. And you know what I really commend about this eggplant too? Is the fact that it got up today and decided that it was gonna be whatever it is. It grew. This thing grew up. This thing grew up. There was a baby that was born at the same time that this started growing. There's a baby the same age as this eggplant. Except one is a baby and one is an eggplant. What's the difference between a baby and an eggplant? Well, physically they're very different. A baby doesn't look like this. unless it's a baby eggplant, because then it would. I guess if baby eggplants exist, is there such thing as a baby eggplant? Can eggplants be born? What do we consider a baby? A young human female, a young human fetus, a young human child is being born. One of the characteristics in the definition of baby. We have people calling each other baby. Baby, I love you. So maybe I could call this a baby. But what I'm saying is, and the point I'm trying to get at is that this eggplant grew up. It grew up. And the lifespan of them isn't long. The duration, the cycle. I'd say this is maybe like at the oldest a year old. But we know it's definitely could be definitely lower than that. So even despite all the hate in the world and all the signs pointing to the downfall of humanity, war in the Middle East, late stage capitalism, people more the gap between wealth, the depletion of morals in society, the way things are just becoming to be. This eggplant said, you know what? Despite all of that, I'm going to try. It said, I'm going to do my best for nobody else but myself. It's fucking powerful, bro. It's powerful. It's so powerful. I'm literally getting chills thinking about it. We're on the brink of World War III. We're probably already in the early stages of it. And this eggplant said, you know what? I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna grow. And this eggplant said, you know what? Despite everything that goes on today, I'm gonna live. Oh my God. It's not often I get this emotionally charged. Especially on my own accord, My words are empowering myself through this incredible personification of the things that we go through every day. There's times I've said to myself, I don't want to live anymore. There's times where things have got hard and I've said, you know what? I can't do this. I can't do this. And there's always been something stopping me. And for me, it's my family, because I could never do that to my family, bro. I never could. And I bless my family for all the support they give me. There's times I've woken up and not wanted to get out of bed. There's times I've woken up and not wanted to shower. There's times where I've woken up and the only thing on my mind is going back to sleep. There's times where I've woken up and wished I didn't. But at the end of the day, you push on forward and you keep going. You keep going. And just like this eggplant, you get out of bed and you say, you know what, I can do this. Just like this eggplant, you get up and you say, you know what, maybe the world could be a better place with me in it. Just like this eggplant, you get up and you say, maybe I can be the one to change. And you know what you do? You do it. You don't play games. You don't sit around. You do it. You get straight to the point. And this eggplant, it grew up in a farm, in a garden, wherever it grew up, in grandma's backyard. And it said, I want to be here today and I want to live. And so it did. And so it did. And I am forever thankful that it did, because if it didn't, I would not get to see it today. I would not get to talk about it. I would not get to talk to you guys. I would not get to emotionally connect with the eggplant if it said, I don't want to be here. And maybe that's how people feel about you. God. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm gonna cry. That's fucking powerful, man. Wow. People think of you the same way. They see you. They see the eggplant in you and they say, I love this man, this woman, this son, this daughter, this grandma, this child, and I want you to be here for me. I want you to show up because I think you're beautiful. You're an amazing soul. And I admire to have the characteristics that you have, to have your resilience, to have your determination, your motivation. I admire it. I want a bit of this eggplant in me. I think I have a bit of this eggplant in me, but I also think I don't. I think I get this eggplant's creative mindset and rebellion against the system. But what I do need is this eggplant's drive. Because quite frankly, I'm not capable of bringing a child into this world with the way it is right now. And maybe if it wasn't this way, I still wouldn't be able to bring a child into this world because I might be infertile. But that's a different story. I can't see myself bringing kids into a world which is falling apart. And there's nothing wrong with believing that. There's nothing wrong with believing that because the world is. It's going down. We got global warming. We got World War II, World War III on its way. We got presidents posting AI pictures on their Twitter, bro. A president using Twitter. Could you even imagine that 100 years ago? No, you couldn't. And this eggplant said, you know what? I respect your decision to not want to bring children into a world which could condemn them to a lifetime of suffering and hardship. But I'm going to try. He's going to try. He's going to do what he can, and he's going to try. And I respect that. Now, me and him, we have different worldviews morally, or different ideologies, different this, different that. But at the end of the day, he's doing what he wants to do. And I've always said this, and I'm going to keep saying this. Do what you want to do in life. Just do it. Stop worrying about what someone else thinks. We live in a day and age, and I'm going to use this analogy even if it's not morally correct. We live in a day and age where everybody thinks they're the main character. Everyone thinks they're the best. Do you think the main character would look at someone else and go, damn, I really value that guy's opinion on what I'm doing today. Maybe I shouldn't do it because I might upset him. Do you think the main character... What movie have you watched where the main character hasn't done something because they've been worried about what someone else is going to think of them? What movie? Name it because I'm going to go log it on my letterbox and I'm going to go watch it and review it. I want to know what movie. There isn't a movie. There's no movie. Because the main character is the embodiment of making your own choices in a film. The main character. If you want to be the main character, which I disagree with fundamentally, because I don't think anybody's the main character, but even if you do, stop giving a crap about what someone else thinks. Why? Why? Oh, because I hang around them, and if I hang around somebody and they don't think that what I do is cool, then it's gonna be weird. Well, then don't hang around them, bro. How many people live on this planet, bro? Answer the question. How many people? More than 10. More than 20. More than 27. You could find another group of people that like you for who you are. And imagine how good you would feel if you did. Imagine it. Imagine if you felt like this eggplant. Imagine if you felt like this eggplant when you hung out with a group. When you hung out with a group. Imagine you felt like the eggplant. Imagine you just said, man, I love the people I'm around. They bring the best of me out. Imagine it. That is a great feeling. Now imagine if you didn't feel like this eggplant. And imagine you said, damn, I really don't like the people I'm around. They're so negative. They're always dragging me down. I don't want to be around them anymore. Well, firstly, what we have here is what's known as a problem. And if you have a problem, there's two logical ways about addressing the problem. You can go about addressing a problem. First, you have to acknowledge you have a problem. Do I have a problem? Yes, my friend group doesn't like me for who I am. Is there something I can do about the problem? In this particular instance, there's always going to be something. Don't be around them anymore. So if you have a solution to a problem and you're refusing to do it, you can't complain. And if you don't have a solution to an issue and you can't do anything about it, then you can't complain either. But I don't think for the life of me that nobody can leave a negative space. If some place is negative, you gotta leave. You gotta eliminate yourself. Because every time you enter that space, someone's taking a pickaxe and they're swinging it at you. And they're swinging and they're getting your ore and they're taking you. And they're taking your life force. Each swing, each difficult swing, each harrowing swing is taxing on your body, not theirs. When it should be the other way around. No one should ever feel like something's being taken away from them. Nobody should. No one should. No one should. I'm going to stand by that. I'll always stand by that. No one should feel like that. If you feel like that, you gotta go. You gotta go, bro. You gotta be like this Eggplant. You gotta be like Pringle from Brazil, who's 20 years old. And you gotta do your own thing. Pringle, 20 years old, Brazil. You gotta be like him. You have to, because if you don't, you're gonna suffer and you're gonna regret it. Imagine you sat on your deathbed and you said, I wish I hung out with different friends. How easy is that? That is the easiest solution. You know, people sit on their deathbed and they go, I wish I could have gone to space. Okay, well, maybe look, that's a little bit difficult, I can't lie. But hanging out with a different group of friends, that's like drinking milk instead of orange juice, bro. Literally. I mean, yeah, you got to go and meet them and you got to find them, but there's an abundance of people everywhere. You know, you got to do everything. You can't just expect things to come to you. You got to have 10 guys knock on your door and be like, yo, I got every interest that you got, bro. No, you have to go out and find them. Same with a partner. Dudes will sit at home, they'll goon all day, they'll do nothing, and then they'll be like, where's the love of my life? Where is this beautiful woman? I mean, firstly, you're not expected to have one. Not every, I'm gonna just cut it straight, bro. Not everyone gets a happy ending. Not everyone can date. But you have to try. You have to try. You have to be like this Eggplant. You have to wake up and you have to go, despite all the traverses or travesties or difficulties, I'm gonna do it anyway. Dudes will sit at home, scroll reels all day, goon to furry, whatever, rule 34, and then and they'll be like, damn, I still haven't met the one for me, bro. Damn, bro, who would have thought? Who would have thought you haven't met the one? What I'm trying to get at here is we do things because you should never do something for the validation of somebody else if you don't respect it. You know what I mean? You think caring about somebody else is basically saying, damn, why do you value someone else's opinion over yours, bro? When you go for a job interview, do you say, what would this guy say? No, you don't. When you choose the career that you want to study, do you go, I wonder what he's going to study because that's what I want to do to impress him? No, you don't. And those are significant choices in your life. When you date a partner, do you go, I wonder what they're going to think? Well, a lot of people do, unfortunately, but I don't. So why do you care if they're going to laugh at you for posting a picture of yourself on your story, bro? On your Instagram story? Do you think if this Eggplant had Instagram, it would care? Or do you think it'd do it anyway because it's just a stoic Eggplant? The best Eggplant. Well, not the best, but a cool one. Because I personally believe that it wouldn't. That it would. I personally believe I personally believe that this eggplant would post something on its story without fear of judgment. And we need to be like this eggplant. But I've talked too much about the metaphysical properties of this and the interrelation between society. We need to talk more about just the objective. What can we see here? I mean, nothing is objective. You know what I mean? Objective to who? Objective to the rule makers. Harm is bad. Objective to who? There's no rule that says harm is bad. We've just deemed that because we have instincts and we have, you know, we have feelings and emotions, and it doesn't benefit us. You know, cavemen 10,000 years ago, they said, we don't actually get anything from unaliving each other, so we should probably stop doing it. And then eventually they built friendships and they realized they didn't want to lose these friendships attacking each other. This eggplant is an eggplant. This eggplant is an eggplant. This is an eggplant. But what is an eggplant? Because it doesn't look like an egg, and it came from a plant. So why are we calling it something it doesn't look like and something which it came from? Because if I was to name this, if I was to say eggplant in the wild, you'd go, where? Where? Well, actually, you'd look for. If you didn't know what I was talking about, well, actually, none of this makes any sense, bro. Because how do you not know what an eggplant is, but you know what an egg is? There's not going to be any confusion. You're not going to be looking for an egg because eggs from chickens don't come from plants. So it's not like you're going to be going, where's the egg? What do words mean? What is language and how can we? Language is very difficult. There's a limitation on what can be communicated, which often resolves in discrepancies. People argue over semantics. I want you, as a viewer, to pick the exact temperature on a scale from left to right, with left being negative 50 degrees to right being 100 degrees. I want you as a viewer to choose which point does it go from hot to cold. You can't. You can't do it. You can't say that it goes from hot to cold. You just know it goes from hot to cold, right? We know the difference between negative 50 and 100 is very big. But when you really go into the timeline, it doesn't make sense. And I think this eggplant is a perfect example of that because it just has so many things that we just can't convey about it. So many things we don't know about it. I don't know if this has consciousness. I don't. How can you even prove that I have consciousness and it's not just some system operating? How can you prove that I'm even thinking? You can't. You can't. I mean, you can see brain activity, but that's just a biological process. Consciousness is metaphysical. Consciousness is beyond what can be observed. You can't observe consciousness. You can observe activity, but you can't observe consciousness. Same way you can't observe love. There is no physical love. Love is metaphysical. Love transcends the physical. Love is beyond boundaries. This eggplant transcends the physical because we don't know anything about it besides what we say about it and how we feel about it and what we can observe. And the only thing we can observe are things which aren't particularly relevant to soul, aren't particularly relevant to enlightenment. This eggplant is purple. Wow. How does that advance us spiritually? It doesn't. I know 10 dudes that could dress up as a purple, could paint themselves purple. It doesn't. Are they equal to the eggplant now? No, they're not. Just because you share a characteristics with something doesn't mean you're the same. There's a green thing on the top. I know 10 things that have green things on top. Trees. Is this equivalent to a tree? I don't know. What do we define as equivalent? What gives you value? Is it what you do? Is it who you are? Is it what you become? I don't know. I don't know. These are great questions. These are great questions, but all we can do is ask. That's all we can do is just ask. And yeah, I mean I think that's the most amazing thing is there's no definitive answer for anything in life. There's no definitive answer for anything. There's the answer that you think is right and the answer that you think isn't right, but there is no objective truth to anything that we do. There's no objective truth to language. Yes, if I throw this eggplant up, it will go back down. That's observably objective. And even then, there's still scenarios where it might not go back down. I might throw it up in space and it might not go back down. And then what? So that's that's situationally, but this eggplant, and I'm glazing it, but it's true. It transcends everything that we know about what it means to be human. It transcends the physical. It is a metaphysical personification of free spirit and free will and being yourself. And I will look at this when it goes into the pan and be sad because I've built a connection simply by communicating to it that I care about. I've built a connection I care about simply by putting ideas in my mind. It's crazy. It's really crazy. I've literally sat here and spoke about an eggplant for 1 hour, and somehow I'm actually attached to it. Somehow I've learned more about myself from talking to this than therapy. And don't even get me started on therapy because therapy, in my opinion, is very useless if you're incapable of introspection. Not everyone is, right? So if you're not, that's fine. But I think therapy for myself is very useless because the therapist will ask me, "Oh, what can you do?" In fact, I'm going to take that all back because therapy, I'm not even looking at therapy from like a grieving point. A lot of people go to therapy because they're having difficulties in their life, but some people go to therapy because they've just lost a loved one. And sometimes you just need someone to hear you speak, and you need somebody to let you get things off your chest. And so even that alone is quite amazing. But with loved ones, you just want you want someone to tell you that things are going to be okay, and I really respect that for what therapists do, you know what I mean? Some of them I think I'm not sure, but the one I went to, I'm not really. I don't know. I don't know if she really had my best interests in mind, but yeah. There's nothing wrong with going to therapy. I mean, some people just need a hand. I'm sure this eggplant will go through therapy. Look at the scars on its body. We said that it's got scars on its body. It's been through things. It's shaped it into who it's become today, and it's only 20. I think it's incredible. I really, really think it's incredible. Now I'm running out of time here, so man, I can't even think of anything else to say about this eggplant. I really enjoyed holding it in my hand for the last hour. It's a very nice shape. It's not uncomfortable. I can throw it from left to right. And when I'm done, it's going to go back in the fridge. But, yeah. It smells a bit weird. It's definitely gotten warmer since I've taken it out. Um, but yeah, guys, look, look, it's just, it's amazing. You should try this in your own time. I mean, seriously, you should try this in your own time. The things that you think of when you don't have anything to think about, it's incredible. You actually start addressing your own issues. You start talking about shit which, you know, things you've been delaying, you finally look at and you go, okay, they serve as entertainment if I think about them. Let's think about them. We're so caught up in scrolling reels and engaging in high dopamine activities, drinking, drugs, corn, that we never stop and we just sit back and we go, maybe, maybe what I need to do is finally address the things in my life which are going wrong. Because running away from your problems, it doesn't matter It doesn't matter if you try to run away because your problems are always faster than you, and they will always catch up. They'll always catch up. If you try to run away, they will catch up to you. So you need to find the strength to turn around and say, I'm gonna address you like this eggplant, and I'm gonna do it to the best of my ability. Thank you for watching.